I'm 70 years old now, and I want to talk to you directly if you're in your 50s or 60s. I'm not here as a financial planner or some kind of expert, but as someone who has already walked through the stage of life you're in right now. Looking back, there are lessons I wish I had known earlier. Truths about time, health, joy, money, and even the way we think about retirement. This video is not about lectures or long theories. It's about real experiences that can help you live these years with more freedom and peace of mind. Because, believe me, this stage of life is special and it goes by faster than you think. I'll be sharing the most important things I've learned, things that can make your 50s and 60s some of the best years of your life. And before we begin, tell me, where are you watching from today? Drop your state or city in the comments. Number 1. The sweet spot, ages 55 to 65. When I look back, I can see that there was a stretch of life between my late 50s and mid-60s that was unlike any other. I call it the sweet spot. At that age, most people still have their health. They've built some financial stability, and the heavy responsibilities of raising kids or running after deadlines have started to ease. It's a season when time, health, and money finally come together in balance. The funny thing is, many people don't even realize they're in this stage until it passes. At 70, I can tell you, I've met so many friends who regret not using those years to do the things they always dreamed about. They waited for the perfect moment, but by the time they were ready, their health had changed, their energy had dipped, or the opportunity had quietly closed. This doesn't mean you need to take big, dramatic steps. It means don't put off the things that matter most. Travel if you've always wanted to, even if it's just a road trip. Start that hobby you never had time for. Spend more unhurried time with the people you love. These are the memories that last, not the chores or routines that fill up your calendar. So if you're between 55 and 65 right now, don't wait for permission. This is your moment. Live it with courage, and don't let this sweet season slip away unnoticed. Number 2. Time is the real currency. When I was in my 50s and 60s, I spent too much energy worrying about money, saving it, investing it, planning for the future. Don't get me wrong, money matters, but over time I learned something more important. Time is the real currency of life. You can always earn more money, but you can never earn back time once it's gone. Every day that slips by is gone forever. I often hear people say, "I'll do that later when I have more time." But later has a way of never coming. I remember meeting a retired teacher who used to spend her Saturdays cleaning the house top to bottom. It wore her out. One day she decided to hire help, and instead she took watercolor classes. She told me, "I bought back my Saturdays." That simple choice gave her new energy and joy. The truth is, many of us waste time without realizing it. Hours on television, endless scrolling on our phones, busy work that doesn't really matter. It's easy to fall into those patterns. But what if you treated your hours like the most valuable investment you have? What if you gave them to things that actually filled you with purpose, walking in nature, learning something new, or just being with loved ones? I wish I had guarded my time more closely when I was your age. Don't wait to discover how precious it is. Use it wisely now, because time really is your most valuable wealth. Number 3, the power of saying no. When we're younger, saying yes to everything feels like the right thing to do. Yes to work projects, yes to social events, yes to responsibilities we don't even have time for. And truthfully, in our 20s and 30s, saying yes helps us grow. But as you get older, I've learned that saying yes to everything can slowly drain the life out of you. By the time I was in my 60s, I realized most of my yeses weren't because I wanted to, they were because I felt guilty or I didn't want to disappoint someone. The result? I was stretched thin, exhausted, and often doing things that didn't bring me joy. At 70, I can tell you with confidence, learning to say no is one of the best gifts you can give yourself. I remember a woman in her early 60s who was offered a prestigious job. It came with more money, but also more stress, travel, and long hours. After thinking hard, she turned it down. That decision gave her freedom. She moved closer to her grandkids, picked up hobbies she had abandoned, and felt happier than ever. Saying no doesn't close doors. It opens the right ones. So before you agree to anything, ask yourself, will this give me energy or will it drain me? If it drains you, it's okay to step back. Protect your time, your health, and your peace. At this stage of life, that's what matters most. Number 4, make time for joy on purpose. Somewhere along the way, many of us stopped doing the things that once made us feel alive. We trade laughter for routines, hobbies for responsibilities, and fun for being practical. But as I've grown older, I've realized that joy is not a luxury. It's fuel for the soul. Without it, life can start to feel flat, no matter how secure or organized everything else may be. I knew a man who retired at 62. He had worked hard, raised a family, and saved well. But once work was gone, he felt lost. Then one day, he picked up an old harmonica he hadn't touched in decades. At first, he played for just a few minutes, then an hour. Eventually, he joined a small music group at the senior center. He once told me, "This little instrument saved me from becoming invisible." That stuck with me. Joy brings color back into our days. It doesn't have to be expensive or grand. It could be painting, gardening, dancing in the kitchen, or watching a funny movie. The important thing is to choose it on purpose. Studies even show that joyful activities reduce stress, sharpen memory, and strengthen emotional resilience as we age. But more than the science, I can tell you this: joy keeps your spirit young. Don't push it aside as something extra. Bring it back into your life now. You've earned it, and your heart needs it. Number 5, invest in your health while you still can. If you're in your late 50s or 60s, I want to tell you something I wish I had taken more seriously at that age. Your body is talking to you. Every ache, every bit of tiredness, every small change is a signal. For years, I brushed those things aside, telling myself, I'm fine, it's just part of getting older. But now at 70, I know that what you ignore today can grow into a bigger problem tomorrow. Health is like a savings account. You build it up with small, steady choices. I had a friend, Carl, who started walking 3 miles every morning when he turned 60. Nothing extreme, just a simple routine. Now, 10 years later, he's still biking, traveling, and chasing his grandkids around the park. He always says, "Those walks I did at 60 are the reason I'm not in a walker today." And he's right. It doesn't take huge changes. Take a walk after dinner. Add a bit of light strength training. Eat a little cleaner. Prioritize your sleep. Every small step you take today pays off later. And don't forget your mental health. Loneliness, stress, and grief can creep in, but staying connected and talking about your feelings is just as important as exercise. You spend years saving money for retirement. Don't forget to save your health too, because no matter how much is in your account, it won't matter if your body isn't strong enough to enjoy the years ahead. Number 6, protect your mind, not just your body. When people talk about aging, the focus is almost always on physical health, blood pressure, weight, mobility. And yes, those things matter, but I've learned that your mind and emotional health are just as important, maybe even more. A strong mind will carry you through moments when your body feels weaker. I once knew a widow who lost her husband after 40 years of marriage. She could have stayed home, isolated and sad, but instead she joined a small gratitude group at her community center. At first, she barely spoke. By the fourth week, she was laughing again. And within a few months, she was leading the group. She told me, "I didn't need a therapist, I needed people who understood." That's the power of protecting your mind. It's not just about avoiding sadness or loneliness, it's about keeping your brain active and your heart engaged. Read books that challenge you. Take a class. Learn something new, even if it's small. Stay connected to people who lift you up. Practice gratitude, even on the hard days. Research shows that older adults who stay mentally and socially active are far less likely to face serious decline. But beyond the studies, I can tell you this from experience. When your mind feels strong and hopeful, every day feels lighter. Don't let your thoughts grow quiet and your world grow small. Keep your mind sharp, and your spirit will stay strong too. Number 7. What you give comes back tenfold. When I was younger, I thought giving was something you did only when you had extra money, extra time, extra energy. But now, looking back at 70, I realize giving is what keeps you alive inside. It's not just about what you do for others, it's about what it does for you. After I retired, I started volunteering at a small local museum. At first, I just helped clean and fix a few things. But soon, I found myself teaching kids, swapping stories with veterans, and making new friends I never would have met otherwise. What surprised me most was how much it filled me with purpose. I didn't feel like I was just getting older anymore. I felt useful again. And I've seen the same with so many others. A retired accountant I know now tutors kids in math. A former nurse helps at a food pantry every week. A grandmother reads to children at the library every Friday. None of them do it for recognition. They do it because it gives their life meaning. Even studies show that volunteering lowers depression, improves health, and can even help you live longer. But honestly, you don't need a study to feel it. The moment you give your time, your wisdom, or just your presence, something shifts inside. You feel lighter, happier, more connected. So don't hold back. Your experience and your heart are worth more than you know. Give freely and watch how it comes back to you in ways you never expected. Number 8. Track your spending, but budget for joy. When people hear the word budget, they often think of cutting back, restricting themselves, or living with less. But at this stage of life, I've learned a budget isn't about saying no to joy, it's about making room for it. Knowing where your money goes gives you freedom, not limits. I once sat down with a woman in her 60s who loved dining out. She thought she was doing fine, but when she tracked her spending, she discovered nearly 20% of her retirement income was going to restaurants. The issue wasn't that she enjoyed dining out, it was that she wasn't aware. Once she saw it clearly, she cut back a little and used that extra money to travel with her sister. She told me later, "Those trips gave me memories I'll never forget." That's the point. When you know where your money is going, you can decide what matters most. Maybe you skip a few meals out, but you use that money for classes, hobbies, or visiting family. Instead of spending without thought, you're shaping your life with intention. Remember, retirement doesn't happen all at once. There are the go-go years when you're active, the slow-go years when you do less, and eventually the no-go years when mobility becomes limited. If you plan now, you can enjoy each stage without regret. So don't fear budgeting, use it to give yourself permission to live more fully, with joy built right into your plans. Number 9. Downsize smartly while life still feels big. One of the most common regrets I hear from people my age is this: we waited too long to move. Not because they didn't want to, but because when the time finally came, their health had changed, or the energy to pack and relocate just wasn't there. They ended up stuck in houses that felt too big, too empty, or too hard to manage. The truth is, the best time to downsize isn't when you have no choice, it's when you still can. Downsizing isn't about giving up, it's about creating more space for the life you want now. Fewer rooms to clean, fewer stairs to climb, less maintenance to worry about. What you gain is freedom. Freedom to travel, to enjoy your days, to feel lighter. I knew a couple who moved from a large home in Florida to a smaller, single-story house in South Carolina. They traded hurricanes and heavy insurance bills for walking trails, friendly neighbors, and a top-rated hospital nearby. They told me, "We feel younger here, not older." That's the power of making the move at the right time. If you're thinking about downsizing, don't just look at the square footage. Ask yourself, is there good healthcare nearby? Is the community welcoming? Are there opportunities to connect and stay engaged? Try renting in a new place for a month before committing. Your home should fit the life you're living today, not the life you had 20 years ago. Number 10. Don't just retire from something, retire to something. When I first stopped working, I thought retirement was the finish line. No more deadlines, no more early mornings, no more stress. And for a little while, it felt wonderful. But after a few months, the quiet started to feel heavy. Without my work, I began to wonder, who am I now? That's when I realized the truth. Retirement can't just be an ending. It has to be a new beginning. The happiest people I know didn't simply retire from a job, they retired to something that gave them meaning. A friend of mine, a history teacher, thought he'd spend his retirement fishing, but after 6 months, he felt restless. So he began offering free history classes at a community center. At first, just a handful of people came, but within a few months, his classroom was full. He told me, "This smile I wear now is bigger than any paycheck I ever earned." That's the lesson. Retirement isn't the end of your story. It's the chapter where you finally get to be the author. Whether it's volunteering, starting a hobby, working part-time in something you love, or mentoring the younger generation, find something that pulls you forward. So don't ask only, "What am I retiring from?" Ask, "What am I retiring to?" Because that answer will decide whether these years feel empty or truly alive. Looking back at my journey, I can tell you with certainty, your 50s and 60s are not just years to get through. They are a gift, a golden window of opportunity that can shape the rest of your life. Too often, people don't recognize how precious this stage is until it's already gone. That's why I shared these 10 lessons with you, not as rules, but as gentle reminders from someone who has already walked the road ahead. Remember the sweet spot of ages 55 to 65. Don't let it slip away. Guard your time like the treasure it is. Learn the power of saying no and make joy a daily choice. Invest in your health now so your future self will thank you. Protect your mind as carefully as your body, and never underestimate how much giving back will give to you in return. Be mindful with your money, but budget for the things that bring you alive. Consider downsizing while life still feels big. And most of all, don't just retire from something, retire to something that excites you. I don't want these years to pass you by in a blur of routine and someday. You deserve to live with energy, peace, and purpose. The truth is, life doesn't slow down. It moves forward whether we notice or not. But if you choose to be intentional, these years can be some of the richest you've ever lived. So tell me, what's one lesson from today that spoke to you the most? Leave it in the comments, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need these words. because the best years of your life may be right now.